good afternoon. I don't even know what time it is, but we are down to 59 degrees weather-wise. That is wild. I don't know. I didn't think we'd get down to the cold, but we did. But I'm off to work. We had an event with Red Bull last night, and I got some Red Bulls. We got a lot of Red Bulls, but I've realized this does nothing for me. I'm on the second Red Bull, and that's not good. Not good at all. But anyways, it's fall. So we're gonna read fall books. I started, I was a teenage slasher, and I really like how Morning. I was gonna do a spend the day with me, but my other camera was charging. I needed to be charged. I mean, I think I can stay together on my iPhone. Heading to my doctor's appointment, but I'm reading. I was a teenage slasher, and I'm reading it on my Kobo. But I really want the physical book, and I put it on hold at the library. But it's a holiday, meaning like I'm not gonna get the book anytime soon. So I'm just like, okay, I need to figure out how to get this book, and I might just buy it. It's only a hardcover though, which is kind of annoying, but I also want to see a movie today. I don't know which one because I was gonna watch Smashing Machine with my mom, but it's too gross out here. I feel like she'll blow away because the wind. So I want to hold off and watch that with her maybe Wednesday. Doctor's appointments are done. That was kind of a hassle, but I feel accomplished because I booked so many things. Gastrointestinal, cardiologist, dermatology referral. I booked so many things. I feel like I'm finally taking care of my actual physical health. I got two little books. I got I was a teenage slasher and Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman. I've heard great things. I'm in my horror phase. I'm in my horror mood right now. This rain, that was annoying, but now I'm gonna treat myself to sushi. Today was a good day. I had a whole full day to myself. I went to the doctors. I felt like an adult. I got all these things checked out. I made a bunch of appointments, gastroenterologist, cardiologist. I got a dermatology referral. So many things, so many referrals. I was like, okay, I'm taking care of business finally. So I'm doing that. And then I moseyed on over to Chase because I had to take some care of things, some things there. Then I went to Barnes and Noble and I picked up two books. I was a teenage slasher. I started reading this on my Kobo, but I really wanted to read the physical book. And I was too impatient to wait for the library. So I just got my physical copy and I'm like already 90 pages in. I also got Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman. I've heard really great things about this. I'm realizing it's not even like, I think it's written from the point of view of the child, which makes sense why it's like so broken up. It's like, why am I spending money on a book that doesn't even have full pages of text? It's fine, but it's in paperback, so I got that. I got these two. I'm on my horror kick, as I said earlier, so I'm reading that. And I also got some books from the library like a couple days ago. I got three Vari McFarlane books, well, four I think. But I also am really loving Stephen Graham Jones' writing, and I think I want to do like this one. I have something Indian, what is it? The no other Indian, I don't even remember what it's called, but I want to read that. And then I have another horror book by him. So I'm in my horror, it's spooky season. So that was my day, and my work schedule is about to get crazier and crazier. So I'm gonna go to bed now, or I'm gonna at least lie down. First things first, I finished I Was a Teenage Slasher. 4.5 stars for sure. Loved it. I'm also filming from afar because my camera's charging and I hope it gets all of this. I don't even know. Anyway, I did something crazy. I did something a little bit crazy. So this is my original Kindle Paperwhite and I love her. I've had her for a long time. I've always had a Kindle. I recently tried out Kobo's. I don't know. I did something a little bit crazy. I got a Color Soft. This is the Color Soft. And I finally broke down and did it because they've made multiple iterations of this. When it first came out, it did not get good reviews, and I'm going to give it a try. I was doing the Kobo color, and I miss having like the screen flush. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's just like I'm just so used to reading my Kindle. I did get used to reading on my e-reader, the other one, but I don't know. I miss my Kindle. So I said, I want to try the Color Soft. But what I did was I'm going to trade this one in for this one. So I just need to return this basically, or trade it in. And because I already set up the trade-in, but I didn't want to trade it in until I got the new Color Soft. So I got that. And then I also ordered the accessories. My mother was so generous as to get me a Color Soft because she loves me very much and she supports my habit. I also bought a case. And the thing is, I normally like my Kindles naked. That's very weird, but I like just having the Kindle and the pop socket. So we're gonna try a case. I always get a case because I like to try it out at first. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, fine. But I got a case for this one. And then I also ordered screen protectors and a new pop socket because I mean I have to take the pop socket off this, but I've had this for so long, like eventually the pop socket is just not gonna stick anymore. Also, I think I bought like adhesives just for the pop socket part, but I want a new pop socket. I've had that one for a while, so I got a new one, but those won't be here till Sunday. I don't know why they sent me multiple boxes for all that, but this is just the screen protector. I have a screen protector on my original Kindle, and I definitely will be putting the screen protector on this one. So those are all the goodies I got right now. So let's open the Kindle Color Soft. I'm gonna set it all up, but we can at least open it together. I did a whole review on like my original Kobo. I didn't get to do a review on just like the Kobo Clara. I did like it. Took me a minute to get used to, but I will definitely be doing a review on the Color Soft because of all the issues that people had when they first got it. I definitely want to see what it's all about. I'm so excited. I bet you what's going to happen is they're going to come out with like a different color version, and I just ordered this one and it's black, and I bet you they're going to come out with a different version. But oh my god, it says welcome to a new world of color. I haven't even opened it yet. Wow. It's so wow. It's like, I'm just trying to think about like my old Kindle. I think it's a little bit bigger. Yeah, I think it's 7 inches and this is like 6 or something. You can kind of tell the difference. Like this is the new one and that's the old one. Welcome to a new world of color. You know how people are like obsessed with tech and they need like all the new techs? That's kind of how I feel with e-readers. Like I love having new e-readers. It feels fancy. Wow. This is wild to have a Kindle in color. It's big. Whoa, it is definitely, ow, the screen is definitely bigger. The screen is definitely bigger. You can tell it's a slight difference of bigger. That's cool. Even the screen is beautiful. I love the flush. Okay, I don't really know if it's like too dark, but I'm doing projection today, so I have like time to do other things. I edited and now I'm reading. I think I'm gonna read for the rest of the time. I am reading Brady Hendrix's The Final Girl Support Group, and hopefully the sound of the projector doesn't pick up too bad, or I can take it out, but we'll see. I'm 8%, 5 hours and 49 minutes left in the book. I want to see if I can finish the book. I think it's recording. It's flashing right at the front. Yeah, it's recording. Good morning. Well, good afternoon, I guess. I'm on my way to meet my friend for lunch. I realized that I never talked about love for I Was a Teenage Slasher. I really liked the way that the book was written. I had never read anything by Stephen Graham Jones before, but I really liked how it was written. I thought it was so interesting to be with the slasher. Sorry, people keep walking by and I'm like embarrassed to be filming in public, but I thought it was really interesting to be like with the slasher the whole time and how he became a slasher and all of the tropes of like slasher movies. And if you don't know, one of my favorite films, my favorite like horror films is the Scream franchise. When I was that first movie, I'm dating myself, but when that first movie came out when I was maybe in like 4th grade. I don't even know. No, 1990. What, 7? No, I think. I don't even know. I don't remember when the movie came out. 1995, 1996. I don't know. But I was young. And I watched that movie at a sleepover, as you do when you're a kid. And after that first scene, I walked out. I said, I'm not watching this. Nope. And I knew then that I was going to be a scaredy cat. But we watched that scene with Drew Barrymore. And I was so scared. And so ended up watching the rest of the film like during the day, you know, when it's light out. But something about watching scary movies at night. And then that franchise ended up becoming like one of my favorite horror movies. And so I love reading about just like all the tropes of a slasher, of a final girl, and all of that. And the other day I was talking to my friend and asking him do you know what a final girl is? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh my God, okay, let me explain this to you. And so it was like so interesting because all the tropes that are in the book about slashers and final girls, and I just really, really loved it. And so now I'm reading The Final Girl Support Group, which, would I say it's a slasher novel? Yes and no. It's more about the final girls, obviously. And so there's not as much, obviously the slasher point of view. You kind of, you understand the life of a final girl after what has happened to her. And I think that is really interesting because, you know, in the movies, you don't really see the final girl after, but the way that this book is you know, structured, they talk about the sequels and how the slasher keeps going. And it's the same with the Stephen Graham Jones book. It's like how the slasher keeps going, they never die, and like there's sequels and third films and fourth films, and then they're in space, and like it's all these different things. I'm realizing like slasher books are very self-aware, and I really appreciate that, and I really like that about what I've been reading. So again, I'm reading Final Girl Support Group. I finally switched over to my color Kindle, and I've been reading. It took me so long to figure out exactly where to put the pop socket, because if I can't figure out where to put the pop socket on the Kindle or on an e-reader, like it's just not for me. And oddly enough, I feel like I have small hands. To hold something like a big e-reader is like a little bit difficult for me. And so figuring out the proper placement of comfortable pop socket, it changes the game. And my Paperwhite was literally in the perfect place. Like it's the most comfortable thing ever. And I feel like I read really fast on it, and it's very comfortable, and I can lay down with it and everything. This one, it's gonna take me a little bit getting used to because it is bigger, but I'm enjoying it so far. Again, this is probably my first full day of reading on my Kindle. Color Soft. It's definitely bigger, and you know, I'll see as the time goes on like how I feel about it. But other than that, this is my second slasher book. I'm trying to decide. I was online yesterday Googling slasher novels. There were some very interesting ones that came up, so I might read like Camp Slaughter, one called Heads Will Roll, and another one called The Blonde Dies First. And because I want to get like a different perspectives. I also might read another Stephen Graham Jones book just because I really liked his writing. Filming in like super low light, and the sound is probably horrible. Like the projectors, you can probably hear all the projectors right now, but I'm like in the booth, and I wanted to see if I could get any light to film here. Yeah, I'm in the booth and I'm doing projection today, and you can't even see the cover. There's no light. I am 86% into Final Girl Support Group. And while I like it, it's definitely not like a traditional slasher novel. It's really following the final girls, which obviously I knew that was where it was going to be, but it's following the final girls. I feel like it's more of like a meditation on the lifestyle of a final girl is after everything happens, what happens to you after, and if you have like the sequel, so if your whole thing happens to you again, which is horrible. But this almost feels like a thriller versus like a slasher, because there isn't really, there's an instance of like someone coming after the final girls again. There isn't like a, people are getting picked off one by one. Like that's not like the vibe it gives. Things are happening to them, but it's not, people aren't being, you know, slashed one by one. And it's more like a thriller. So you're trying to figure out who's trying. Basically, I feel like they're coming after them, but you don't know, it's like clearly somebody, but it's more like a mystery of like, who is this person that's like orchestrating all of these things to happen. And I kind of guessed who it was. Like towards the beginning, I'm like, can't trust her, can't trust that person. And then you kind of find out, and I'm like, okay. And then there's like a second kind of like twist. You're like, oh, really? Okay, so yeah, but I'm 86% in. My plan today is to finish this book and then start, I think I want to start Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning, or I want to start Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez, or The Blonde Dies First. I also want to read The Only Good Indians, but I don't know if that's like considered like a slasher novel. So I think I might do Camp Slaughter. It has the least amount of pages, so it might be a quicker read. But I have to see. I really want to read The Only Good Indian, but I also want to read Heads Will Roll. Maybe I'll start with Heads Will Roll. I don't even know. Actually, okay. I think I want to read The Blonde Dies First next, because it 336 pages, but it says a group of friends fight to choose their own fates in this trope-savvy, self-referential young adult thriller from the acclaimed author of Their Vicious Games. Their Vicious Games is really good. About a demonic force that acts according to the horror movie rules in the spirit of the Scream movie. That is like slash. So I think I might do that one next. I also got a bunch of snacks for today. I got ranch and ruffles, got brownies, I got my lunch, my salad, and my pasta. I'm set. Okay, so I officially finished Final Girl Support Group. I'm still here in the booth. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I thought it was okay. I have read one other book by Grady Hendrix and I did not like it. That was My Best Friend's Exorcism. I thought it was like a bit racist, and like I read that a long time ago, and I was kind of like, why are we choosing to do these things? I know it's set in the 80s, but like, why are we choosing to do some of the things that they're doing in that book? And then I have a friend who read like the one about the vampire, and she was like, it was atrocious. And so I just stopped reading Grady Hendrix, and so I read this one. I didn't think it was that bad. I think I gave it 3.5, and I wanted to read the vampire one, but again, my friend was like, it's atrocious. But then he has that Wayward Girls Witchcraft book. I haven't really seen much on that one. I feel like what he's doing is similar to Rachel Harrison, but Rachel Harrison does it better. Like, she writes different books about werewolves, witches, vampires, but I just think her books are better. So now I'm starting The Blonde Dies First, and I'm only 3% in. I have 15 minutes left in this chapter. I like to have it where it shows like the chapter at the end. Also, I don't know if I told you guys, but I got a new Kindle Color Soft, and I finally put my little pop socket on. And if you notice, it's like not in the center because my hands are small, and this is where it fits the best. I finally got it fitting to where I feel like, okay, I can just read this comfortably, because it's definitely a little bit bigger than my last one. And my impression of this, at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this Kindle, but honestly, I very much liking it. I like the color highlighting. I don't know if you can see, probably not. Oh, a little bit, yeah. You can see the little color highlighting, and I like flush. Like, I already loved my regular Kindle, my black and white one, so this is just kind of like a step up from that. It's nothing, in my opinion, it's not anything like spectacular, but also I wasn't expecting to get this and be like, and wanting a different reading experience. I honestly just wanted like the same reading experience because I love my Kindle Paperwhite. So I really wanted the same reading experience, just like with color highlighting and like colored books. Like, that's fine. That's kind of what I'm getting. I wanted to be comfortable. My battery life though, and what makes me nervous, is that I'm at 44%. Okay. I have had this book for this Kindle for like, today's Sunday. I think I got it Thursday, maybe. I think I first started reading on it Thursday or Friday, Thursday maybe, and it's already 44%. That means the battery life went quickly. I also sit my Kindle down and I like leave it on. I also have my brightness pretty high. I have it on airplane mode right now, so I've also been doing a lot of stuff on it as far as like downloading stuff and like getting the books, loading the books. So I feel like maybe when I'm just reading on it and like turn it off when I'm supposed to, and maybe have the brightness down a little bit more, or maybe keep it on airplane mode a little bit more, it will last a little bit longer. But we'll see. But other than that, like, I'm having a good time reading on it. There's nothing crazy about it, which is, like I said, what I wanted. I didn't need to read this, like, to get this and be like, oh my god, this is a completely different experience. No, like, I wanted the same reading experience because I love my Kindle Paperwhite so much. Back to the book. I literally just started. I'm, like I said, 3% in. I'm only on page 10. So right now the girl is just like getting ready to go to a party, and she's telling us about her twin sister and the relationship and how her sister's like gifted, and that's it, and kind of like their relationship. I don't know where this is gonna go, but I really liked the other book by this author, and so or it's called These Vicious Games. I thought that book was really freaking good, and so I'm excited to read. Good morning. It is a fall day. You can probably hear the freaking leaves going crazy in the background. I'm up for work because I need to open. One of my other managers is sick, but I'm up. I finished my book. What book was it that I was reading? Oh, it's called The Blonde Dies First. So I finished The Blonde Dies First, and I thought it was good. I think I gave it like 3.75. It was definitely a slasher mixed with supernatural thriller, I would say. It wasn't like a straightforward slasher, which was fine. You know, I'm reading slashers / like, you know, horror books. I always think like how crazy it is that people are like up this early, but like it's like like a lot of people are up. But I forget, people have school and whatnot. But anyway, I finished The Blonde Dies First, but I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed, but I did think the twist was good. And the one thing I like about slasher books and films is how like self-aware they are. And so there was obviously one character in there that very much reminded me of the character in Scream, which I want to say is played by Jamie Kennedy, I think, where he like knows everything about slashers, and he's the one that's like giving them all the info about how to survive this. But it was definitely like slasher mixed with supernatural, which I thought was really interesting. And this is my second book by her, Joelle. I forget her last name, but she has a third book coming out, and I will be reading that. Like, I just really like her books. They all surround kids of color, and I think that's like part of my favorite thing. I love, you know, you don't really see a lot of slashers with full of color in them, and I like that. And her books predominantly have people of color, and predominantly Black, and they live in Brooklyn. And like, one of the things was that I knew exactly where one of the places they were. Like, they live in Crown Heights. I used to live in Crown Heights. And they mentioned this UPS. They mentioned this UPS, and I was like, I have been to that UPS. That's literally where I used to live. And so I thought that was really cool and really interesting. And so, yeah, I enjoyed the book. I had a good time. I started a new book. I started a book by Josh Winning called Burn the Negative. I've never heard of Josh Winning before, but I was looking up slasher books, and his books came up. He has one called Heads Will Roll. It's a new one. And then he has one that came out maybe like 2 years ago, and 2-3 years ago. I think it came out in 2023, called Burn the Negative. And it's about a cursed like film set. And I don't know what it is. I love the idea of like cursed film sets, or like film being involved. You know, you hear all the tales of like all the stuff on the set of The Exorcist. Burn the Negative is, from my understanding, about a young girl who she worked on this shoot, and she was on this movie, and everybody else on the movie died. And so I don't know if she's the only remaining survivor, but it's part of her past, and she's trying to like move on from that. Apparently somehow she's gonna get roped back into that, and I think they're either making a remake, and so she kind of has to confront all that again. And it says it's like an ode to slasher, the slasher film, and that's exactly what I'm going for. So we'll see. I just started. I'm honestly like 3%. Alright, so we're back in the booth. Hopefully you can see some of this. It's always so dark here, but I am 52% through. Maybe I need to like use this as like 50% through Burn the Negative. And I'm realizing that a lot of the like slasher books that I've picked, well, 2 of them, are more so like slasher suspense? No, supernatural. Because, okay, so basically in this one, it's called Burn the Negative, there is this young girl who was in a movie called The Guest House when she was younger. And there was like, everybody on that set, something happened to them. And so she survived, she changed her name, and she's trying to like put that in the past. But she is now a journalist, and she has to go to the set of someone who's kind of like remaking The Guest House, or like inspired by The Guest House, and making this movie called It Feeds. And she gets sent there by her like boss, and she's like, did you know that this was basically like a remake of like the show that the movie that I tried to put behind me? And yeah, of course he did. And so anyway, things start to happen during that movie called The Guest House. There was the villain, or the slasher in that, is called the Needleman. Now she is being like haunted again, I guess, by like something that looks like the Needleman. And so she's basically trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And there's a lot of like supernatural elements. And so like this book and the last book I read, both are like, I would consider supernatural horror. Like they follow, if I can get better light, they follow the rules of like a slasher, where it's like it basically hunts like one person after the other, and it follows like the rules of that. But there's also like a supernatural element, because now they're saying it's like demonic parasites and whatnot, and there's like a psychic involved. And so I feel like there's a lot of different things that are happening. And this book, when I first started reading it, I was like, it's actually kind of scary. Like I don't normally get scared by books, but it's like, it's a little bit scary. But anyway, so my goal is to finish it today, and I want to find something that's like a straightforward slasher. So I might read Cam Slaughter or Bury Your Gaze, because I think those are more straightforward slashers. I'm back in the booth. I finished last night. Do I not remember these book titles? Wow, I really don't remember the book I finished last night. Let me look at my Kindle, because this is sad. What did I finish last night? Oh, Burn the Negative by Josh Winning. And I really liked it. I hadn't read something like this before, but it's definitely like a slasher, kind of like cursed film, supernatural kind of book. I want to read his other book called Heads Will Roll, and that's like, when I looked up slasher novels, like that one came up. I would give that one like 3.5 stars. Definitely Burn the Negative. I'm realizing, and I have read this before, but like horror is used a lot of times, sometimes, to express painful emotion, or just emotion in general, like trauma, sadness, anger, grief, like all those. Like you see a lot of horror books, and you see that horror is used to express some kind of thing, racism. I think horror is such a interesting and cool way and mechanism and genre to talk about those kind of really painful, horrendous things. And I'm really digging reading horror books. I will say, I'm like, oh, these are dark. Like I need some romance or something, because I'm like, oh. But I did get some like fall romance books, so we'll see if I read those. But I have moved on. My next book I'm reading is called Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez, and let me tell you, that prologue, now that's a slasher novel. Like this is one of the first books that came up when I was like looking for slasher novels, Camp Slaughter. And apparently there's a second one, but that this one's really good, the first one. And basically we're getting like it starts out with this couple. They are going to this like secluded cabin in the woods, and just to kind of like revamp their marriage, because it's clearly not working out. because the guy works way too much. He emotionally neglects his wife a lot in all ways. And so she's trying to save the marriage and hope that like they can go to this cabin and that things can get a little better. Starts out with them in the cabin and they hear a sound and the husband goes down to check and he encounters a man that is not supposed to be in the cabin and is very scary. And then events kind of unfold from there. And I was like, okay, there's blood, there's an axe, there's someone that I would liken to Leatherface. He even has a chainsaw. So, yeah, I'm like, oh, this is Leatherface. Like, he's wearing the skin of someone else on his face. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, okay, we're in slasher territory now. We're definitely there. So I'm actually excited to read this book. It's already creepy as hell. I'm on chapter 1. I'm 8% in. See how much I can read today? This book's only 258 pages. So, and I have a full freaking 13-hour projection shift. So let's see if I can get through. It says I only have 4 hours left in the book. So we'll see if I can actually like finish this book today. That might be the goal. Finish this book. Start and finish this book today. Okay, I'm still in the booth. I feel like me reading these like horror novels up in this booth is like really giving the ambiance, you know? Because the darkness in here is like insane. I feel like it's gonna look different when I watch it back. Okay, so I'm reading Camp Slaughter, and honestly, this is exactly what I was looking for. A psycho guy, cannibal, in the woods, killing people. This is what I meant by slasher novel. Like, this is, no wonder this book comes up as like one of the main options. And it's actually really good. It's going really fast. The chapters are quite short. I'm already 34% in, and I'm actually loving it. Like, it's gruesome. If you don't like gore, don't read it. And it definitely gives slasher vibes, and it's everything I honestly wanted in a slasher novel.